Hey guys, welcome to episode number 2 of Talk Motoring Tuesday. I'm your host as always, Carl Lawrence. This week we're going to have a full show. So in our last episode, or the first episode of Talk Motoring, was just an introduction to us, what we do, where we came from, what we're going to be doing. And this week is our first full show. So this week we'll be having our car of the week. This week the car of the week will be the Haval H1. I did mention we're going to do the entire range that we're going to do week by week. So they have 5 vehicles in their stable, which is the H1, H2, H6, H6C and the H9. The H6C and H6 will be doing in one show, so there will be 4 shows in total. So we'll be doing that on the Haval and car of the week. I'm fortunate enough to have the Haval H1 here in my driveway at the moment. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do that for the rest of the range, but at least this week I can take you for a drive in the Haval H1. We're going to be heading up to my local spa with a up to my local spa with my mask and my gloves. So we're going to be doing shopping for essentials, so I'll be able to take you for a drive in the car and talk you through it. We're also going to be doing our Motorsport segment, so every week we'll be doing a segment of Motorsport. This week, we're going to be looking at the life of Sir Stirling Moss, who unfortunately passed away on the 12th of this month at the ripe old age of 90. I'm also going to be letting you know, we're also going to be taking a quick look. There's not much information out there on this event, but the esports Medal State currently held a 6-hour event at Kyalami on the Assetto Corsa platform. So I want to have a quick look at that and give you guys a brief rundown on that event. So, jumping straight into it, we're going to jump straight into the Haval H1 car of the week for the first part of our episode. Like I said, I'll be able to take you guys for a drive in it, but to start off with, let me just let you know a little bit about Haval. Haval was previously named GWM in this country. They had the Florid Cross. They still have the Steve Bucky. So they had a single cab, double cab, and a few other versions of the Steed. And then they also had what was called the GWM H5. Now, those are obviously no longer. They are now called Haval. That happened in 2018 at the Festival of Motoring in Kyalami. They changed their name from GWM to Haval with a whole new marketing program and a whole new range. Now, like I mentioned before, there are 5 vehicles in this range. I'm going to be looking at the first one and the entry level, the H1. Now, the H1 is basically a crossover. So it's not a hatchback, but basically it is. It's a car, it's a hatchback jacked up a bit with a bit of black trim around the edges to make it a crossover. Now, a crossover is supposed to be able to go off-road and on-road. In roads like, for roads like Joburg, I would recommend a crossover no matter what, or a Bucky. The roads are so bad in Joburg. So the crossover is very well put together. It's very well styled. I'll be putting up a few photos as we go along. Now, it is an entry-level vehicle. It's not your top-of-the-range vehicle. It's not an Audi or a VW. It's not a well-known European brand or Japanese brand. It is a Chinese manufacturer. So what they've done is they've created a vehicle, full purchase 184,900. Now, there are no variances to the model. You can't buy a auto or a manual. You can't buy an entry level or a fully stocked. At 184,900, it comes with what it comes with, which is actually quite impressive. So if you look at what they come with, dual front airbags, ABS and EBD all around, disc all around, not a drum brake on this car, full ISOFIX child mountings, rear door child locks. It's got a mobilizer, PDC or rear park assist, which is phenomenal for the price in my mind. Remote sensor locking, and a few other bits and bobs that don't normally come on a vehicle of this price. So you've got the full steering wheel controls, so you can control your radio, as well as cruise control on this vehicle as well. So, which is quite different. I've never seen, or I have seen vehicles of this sort of range with that, but it's normally in their top of the range, and it is a little bit more expensive than 184. So I'm quite impressed at what this comes with for the price. It also comes with full alloy wheels, so you're not getting those cheap steel the cheap steel rims with the mag covers on them. You're getting a full set of alloy wheels with a full size tire. I'll be going through the vehicle and showing you spare tire as well. Roof rails come as standard, cloth upholstery, and the steering wheel is actually quite nice for a vehicle of this sort of price range. And I'll be giving you more details on the interior when we're actually in the vehicle. What also blows my mind is the Bluetooth connectivity on the vehicle and the USB and auxiliary ports. So what I'm going to do now is on air with you currently, I'm going to actually do a quick search of its sort of competitors and what am I looking for at 184,900 Rand. So I'm just going to do a quick search here for a vehicle of that price. So vehicle for sale, 184,900. Now I'm just going to take a look at the first few results and see what comes up, so we can have a look at sort of price range, what this car is competing with. So now I type in 184,900, obviously the first few vehicles that come up are Havals. Now it's giving me, let's have a look at a few other cars that come up in this price range. So it's from around 180 to 190,000 Rand, which is what the price range, which is the price range I'm looking at. Now, this is sort of your entry level to motoring sort of vehicle. So your student vehicle and your young professional vehicle. So ages is sort of 20 to 30, I think is what their market would be. Now what comes up first and foremost is a Nissan MP200 1600, the safety pack, black edition, but it is not brand new. It's got 1,000 k's on the clock, so that doesn't help anybody. Renault Sandero 184,900, also 54,000 k's. So these are all demo models. Renault Sandero 66 kilowatt turbo expression, 188,900. Kia Picanto 1 litre street. So this is a 1 litre street vehicle. 1 litre street. So this is the street package. No alloy rims that I can see, and also only a 1 litre. So the next vehicle in its range, as far as I can see, is the Etios hatch, which is a 1.5. This vehicle also 1.5, very similar motor. It uses the VVT, which is based off the Toyota motor. But the rest of these vehicles are all used and have all done some sort of mileage. Datsun Go, Toyota Aygo, Toyota Etios, and Kia Picanto 1 litre street is what you're looking at in a similar price range at 180,900. Now I've gone and seen the Kia Picanto interior and exterior. It's not as nice as what this is, and it's not as spacious. I'm 6'4". For me to get into this vehicle is already a struggle. I don't want to go into anything smaller. I've also gone and done a little bit of research and a bit of a look into the Toyotas. They're all base models at 180,000. So this is the fully spec model Haval H1 at 184,900 Rand. So very much around the same price range as the Toyotas, but it does come with a lot of extras in it. Now, just to go back to what it has in it, I did mention that all the specs on the interior. Engine-wise, it's not a get-up-and-go car. You're not going to get from A to B in any record times. It's only got 69 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM and 130 newton meters of torque. Its top speed, or listed top speed, is 170 k's an hour. So not the fastest thing on the road, but great first car for a student, or great A to B for a young professional. You're sitting in traffic most of the time in Joburg. Why would you want to do anything faster than 170 k's an hour? The speed limit's 120. So I'm going to take it for a quick drive and see how easy it sits, and how easy it drives from point A to point B. I'm not going to be doing any highway driving, just quick little short drive around the block here, as I would heading to work every day. Other things that comes with standard: air conditioning, power steering, and cruise control, standard in the vehicle for that price. Electric windows, remote audio controls, which is the buttons on the steering wheel, height adjustable headlamps, adjustable steering wheel. Unfortunately, it's only got height, so it doesn't have any reach adjustment, which is a problem for me, and I'll show you now when you get into the vehicle. And obviously front cup holders. Like I said before, the radio is an MP3 and CD playback with USB on auxiliary ports and Bluetooth. Now this is what I really like about this vehicle, is the warranty and service plan. So it comes standard with a 5-year 100,000 warranty, a 3-year and 45,000 standard in the retail price service plan. Your service intervals are 15,000 Ks, which is quite large as far as I'm concerned for a vehicle of this make. So a Chinese produced vehicle as opposed to one of the mainline brands, the Europeans and the Japanese. And it comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometer roadside assistance plan in the purchase price. So that's quite great in terms of purchase of the vehicle. So it is, for its price, loaded with extras. Fuel tank size for anybody that's interested is a 45 litre. It does have extensive ground clearance, so it's great for going over speed bumps and the occasional pavement when you're not paying attention. So very good car. Its boot size is very big as well, 350 litres. We've used it quite extensively and fitted a lot into it. We actually fit pram and baby seats and everything into the vehicle. So it is a great sort of family car as well as an entry-level car for its size and for its price. Don't expect to have a family of 5 and trying to use this vehicle a little bit too small for that. Excuse me. Right, without further ado, let's go jump in the car and take it for Here we are in our Haval H1 to go for a drive up to our local spa to go get ourselves some essentials. Got me my sunglasses, my cap, and my shopping list that my wife has so wonderfully drawn out. It's quite a long one. It's like, yeah, that was supposed to be essentials. I thought I was getting like Pepsi. No. Anyway, long ass list I've got to go get from spa with our Haval. Most importantly, and the most important thing I have with me is my bank robbing mask. No, not my bank robbing mask, my sanitary, my keep me safe, keep you safe mask. So guys, if you are going out anywhere, please wear a mask. That way I protect you and you protect me. I don't know if you guys have seen the stats, but it is super important. Even if you're not a COVID-19 carrier, you're almost sure that you're not, you won't know until it's too late. So rather just keep a mask on, I'll keep mine on, that way you protect me and I protect you. Anyway, moving on, let's get into our drive of our vehicle. First and foremost, I've got to open our gate, which to do that, I need keys, eh? Gate open. Right, to start this car, which is another feature it has, is your foot's got to be on the clutch. So I love this because often I very, very rarely leave a car in gear when I stop. Always use a handbrake. It's come back to bite me many times. I would advise leaving a car in gear when you leave it parked anyway. But what happens is I then get into a car after someone else has driven, pull the key, and I move forward or move backwards into something. So quite nice. This car has a radio. Has a nice little feature. Another feature it has is when you put it in reverse, so you can hear the radio playing, right? Into reverse, radio goes off. So that's awesome. Another thing I want to show you that this car has is the park distance control. Now, there we go, we can hear it. My left hand side corner is quite close to the wall and you can hear the controls going off. Now you'll hear the brakes are very, very squeaky. It's probably because this car's been standing for so long. I mean, the last time I was in a vehicle was probably 2 weeks ago. Now, don't criticize my driving. It's been a while since I've been in a car. When I put this thing back in first, the radio is going to come on, so I'll have to switch that off. But I'm going to go take quite a little bit of a roundabout route to get to the spa. Also, I don't want you guys knowing where I live. You might come find me. No, I'm kidding. The one thing it does struggle with is power. It is very underpowered. There's the radio again. We switch that off. It is a very underpowered vehicle, so let's get to our stop street here. But another thing I don't like, and I will show you when we get to our next, when we get to the stop, is the driving position. The steering wheel, I don't know if you can see, is very, very low. It's almost directly on top of my knees. It does have adjustment, but unfortunately not enough to help me get the steering wheel where I need it. So, you know, it is very difficult to get comfortable in this car, especially for a driver of my height. The camera's moving everywhere, but I'll sort that out now. Quick indicator on the right, Carl. It's not sure Navarro, buddy. No one's coming. Oh, roads are so quiet. This is so freaky. Anyway, I'm so glad to see it quiet. Maybe we won't get another lockdown. The president's announcement tonight at 8 o'clock, so don't watch my video until after that, okay? I know it launches at 7, but watch the president's address first. Okay. The one thing I also don't enjoy about this car is the clutch doesn't give much of a feel, so it's very, very soft. I'm only recommending things I don't like, but there is a lot I like about this car. So I've got all my controls on my steering wheel. I've got my core controls here, so if someone gives me a phone call and I'm connected to the Bluetooth, I can hit the green button and answer the call, or the button to end it. Volumes here. I've got station controls, as well as when I'm running a multimedia source to the USB, I can control it from the steering wheel. So everything can be controlled from here, which is great. The dashboard, which I'll take a couple of photos of now that you can see, does have a digital display, which is also quite nice. I personally prefer the dial, the analog dial. So for it to have the digital display, it is quite cool, but it's not something that I personally enjoy, but a lot of people do like it. It gives a nice modern feel. The steering wheel does have a nice feel to it. It is quite solid, quite robust. Everything in the car does feel robust. It does feel like, you know, the things that you are touching directly do feel like they can last, but there is remnants of Toyota with it, so it does look very Toyota. The gear linkages are a little bit clunky and noisy and very poorly spaced, but it is, in all intents and purposes, a great car for its purchase price. So I haven't put this camera mount on very well, unfortunately. But there we go, a bit of vibration and movement, but it's good enough for now. I'll get a better one as we go ahead. That's third, 43 k's an hour. It does have a little green indicator for economy. The tank, 45 liters, it's about 800 rand to full, and it lasts me about two to 3 weeks, so which is quite good. I think it gets about 10 liters. I lied to you, it gets about 9 liters per 100 with me driving, and I don't drive very slowly. You will see the seats do tend to get quite warm in summer because of the cotton. They aren't very well, for me, breathable. But I must say, electric windows are great. The sound system in here is great. It really is good for what I'm buying. And my aircon, although is basically like a stopper when I put it on, the vehicle does struggle up hills especially. But for around the town driving, for, you know, the young professional or student going to varsity every day, it is a wonderful vehicle. It is not a Golf 7 GTI. It is not a I've got to hold this camera. It's not a Opel OPC. There we can feel the lag, the struggle up the hill with the AC if I switch it off. It's like a turbo. So the AC does put a bit of strain on the car. I'm flat out now in fourth from the robot, and I'm only doing 60 k's an hour, so it's not phenomenally fast. I put it into fifth now at economy, you know, for economy wise, and I can coast up this hill at 65 k's an hour, which is quite reasonable. It's good enough for around the town. You're not going to set any lap records around Kyle Army with it, but it does what it needs to do for point A to point B. I think I'm supposed to turn right here, guys. Yeah, I'm supposed to turn right here. Oh, robot screen, here we go. So you can feel that it isn't the strongest vehicle alive first, second. It does take a while to get going. It does have a 0 to 100 speed in 10 seconds, which for the time as it is now isn't fantastic, but it is quite good. The suspension is quite hard. You can see as I'm going over these bumps now, everything's shaking, so the suspension is quite hard. But and road noise is quite loud. You can hear the road noise. But again, you must remember what you're paying for this car. You're paying 184,900 rand for this car, and I've got all the creature comforts I would want in a top of the range vehicle. So I've got all my hand controls. I've got my electric windows. I can do my hands-free calls. So it really isn't a bad. We just get a pan of the interior. That was planned. I planned that when I turned right, the camera would pan and give you a look of the interior. So space-wise, it's not bad. You can see we've got the car seat in the back here. I'll take the camera out now when we stop, and I'll show you everything that I was talking about. So it is a very good vehicle, space-wise, but you could only fit half a person in the back seat. It's not ideal. It is. I said it's a very good car space-wise, and then I contradicted myself by saying I can't fit in the back seats. But again, it's 184,900 rand. I can fit my car seat and my kid in the back. Oh, there we go, another pan of the interior. You see, well planned, great production quality coming out there from Talk Motoring. Let me just find my park and I can. Right, my idea for camera mount didn't work very well. Okay, clearly, don't judge me. First time. Okay, right. Let me show you what I was talking about. Let me get this out here. What I was talking about when in terms of the driving position. Let me get my finger out the way. Let me just quickly turn this camera around for you guys so you can see. How do I do that? Anyway, hang on a second, guys. So, if you have a look here at my driving position, you'll see the steering wheel's virtually. I'll take my foot off the clutch. My feet are on the pedals. The steering wheel's virtually on my lap. So, it does make life a bit difficult in terms of driving. I wish it did move more, but you can see the movement is up and down. There is no in and out. It is just up and down. So that's at its top level, and it does feel a little bit strange. Now let me try and get you guys to frontal view. You can properly see the driving position isn't great, but what you can see on the vehicle, power steering, wonderful. It's got all the buttons I need on the steering wheel so I can answer calls, remove calls. I've got my cruise control, my cancel, and then the set for the cruise control and reset. Then the mode for the radio, so I can change the mode there, auxiliary radio. I don't have a CD in, so you can't see the CD, but that is it there. Let me just switch that off so we don't hear that. And then my volume controls and my source and my folder controls if I'm running a media system. Everything runs from this port here, so you've got your USB port, which does charge a phone. Not very well, but it does charge a phone. And then in there is also the auxiliary port. Gear knob, very much from a Toyota. Your two cubby holes, your two holsters here for your whatever. The radio is a very nice little interface, quite easy to use. You've got the same controls on the face here that you would have on the steering wheel, which is quite nice. But now just to show you guys the rear of the car and how much space that you can see my little mounty mount. Not the greatest. There's a digital control I was talking about. Gives you all the information you need to know. Time for me to put fuel in as well, which is quite important. Full electric windows, but only on the driver's side and the passenger side over there. There is no controls as far as I know on the back door. Let's go have a look and I'll tell you. Right. The key is quite lacquer as well. It's got the usual foldable in key, which is quite lacquer. And then your controls lock, unlock. Just unlock the vehicle quickly and just jump in the back. Okay, so this is unfortunately one of the major issues when driving this vehicle. I mean, when owning a vehicle like this, there's very little space. So you can see actually between my kid and the seat, there's very little space between the seats as well. So it's not that spacious in terms of seating arrangement. If I close the door here, you can actually see I'm basically around the seat. So definitely not a sort of car you want to use when transporting 4 people. You know, I'll definitely stick to 2 people in the front and maybe 1 in the back, nothing more than that. But all in all, for the price of the vehicle, a great little car. Hey guys, so that brought to a close our car of the week review. We reviewed the Haval H1. If you guys liked the video and liked our content, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and also on Facebook, like the page, like the video, excuse me, like the video. And if there's anything else you want to see in our videos, any content you'd like me to have a look at, or even if you have some content you would like to put on the show, you can email it to me at talktocarl@gmail.com. It's TORQUE. I've put the email below. And also put it in the comments, tell me what you think, tell me if you want to see more of something else, or if you have new ideas for our show. There is obviously, of course, the Fan Day Fridays, which we'll be doing every Friday, where we actually talk to fans of Talk Motoring, or talk to someone that knows a little bit more about something that I don't. So for instance, we had Craig Earcoat the last week Friday on our Fan Day Friday telling us about the Solidarity E-Race. Another E-Race that happened this week was the Kyle Army 6 hour that happened on Medal States platform on Assetto Corsa. If you guys want to see more about sim racing and more about that 6 hour event, you can go like Medal States Facebook profile. It is METTLE State STATE. They also have a website which I've put below. The winners of that event were David Perrell and another driver you might know who won the Solidarity E-Race. It was Alaric Enslin. commentator's curse coming out. I can't say names anymore. If I butchered the pronunciation of your name, Lyric, I apologize. Please hit me up in the comments, shout at me all you want. But congratulations on winning the Medal State 6 hour that took place at Kyalami's version on Assetto Corsa. So if you guys do want to get involved in sim racing, please go check out medalstate.com's website. If you are looking for sim equipment, there is a great website, fullgas.co.za, that you saw in our last episode where we spoke to Craig Eckert. I did leave a link up in that description. I'll leave another link now. So moving on swiftly, I did mention last week we'll be looking at the life of Sir Stirling Moss. It is just very much a quick overview of moments in his career that I thought are worth a mention, such as the Mille Miglia, such a hard name to pronounce. I don't speak Italian, so please, if I butchered that as well, I apologize. But Sir Stirling Moss was a Grand Prix driver as well. His career spanned 7 years. That's where we most know him from. We know him as being a Formula 1 driver. The majority of his events didn't happen, or races didn't happen in Formula 1. He did a lot of racing in sports cars as well, and what they called tourist trophies back then, or TTs. So basically he races over massive distances on road surfaces, road national open roads, okay, which in the 50s and 60s weren't very wide, and they didn't exactly have walls or Armco next to them. You either hit a stone brick wall, a tree, or someone's house outside of hitting spectators. So not the safest way to go racing, but something that he did quite a bit of. He competed in 529 races in total, winning a total of 212, which is a huge percentage. So wonderful career. That obviously includes his Grand Prix. He was his Grand Prix career. He was born in 1929 and unfortunately died on the 12th of April at the age of 90. He was born in London to a dentist of a father, or a father who was a dentist, and also an amateur racer. He raced at Indy 500 as an amateur, and best finish was 16th. His sister Pat's also a successful rally driver, so motorsport running in his family, motorsport in his blood, definitely. He bought his first car in 1948. Now, he was also an avid horse rider and competed in a lot of horse events and horse racing, and I don't know a lot about horses. I'm scared of anything that could throw me off at any time and has a mind of its own. I've never been one for horse riding, and I am insanely scared of them. But Sir Stirling Moss, not scared of horses at all. He used his winnings from horse riding and horse racing to purchase himself a Cooper. He was one of the first customers of Cooper Motors. So Cooper Motors back in the day produced a lot of Formula 3 and Formula 1 cars. He competed in 1948 in that vehicle, did very, very well. He moved up to Formula 2 in a Maserati, I believe. So he did a lot of winning in junior categories from 1948 up till in the beginning of his career, and this got the attention of a lot of big teams. He often didn't race for big teams and big manufacturers because he preferred to drive British-made vehicles. He was actually quoted saying, "I would rather lose with honour in a vehicle produced in Britain than race a manufacturer of another country." So he was big behind his British cars, but he did eventually drive other manufacturers like Maseratis and Italian-made vehicles, as well as, quite famously, the Mercedes 300 SLR, which was known as the Silver Bullet, the W196S, which he did win the Mille Miglia in. Such a hard name. Mille Miglia. He did win that in 1955 in a Mercedes-Benz SLR. 1955 was where he took his first Grand Prix victory at the British Grand Prix as well. Over and above his 16 Grand Prix wins or Formula 1 wins, he also won quite a few of these tourist trophies. So the Mille Miglia was probably his most famous in 1955. Now, these events, like I told you, happen on open roads. Open vehicle, well, not open roads, they were closed for the events, but roads. So not purpose-built circuits or purpose-built rally stages, they were public roads. Now, all you had was a road book on a paper roll. You had a great, a very well-known navigator at the time, Dennis Jenkins. And what these two did that was a little bit different is that they actually reviewed the type of corners that were coming. So they created the first real road book that, as we know today in rally. So he knew what types of corners were coming up, and it could be fed, the information could be fed to him, so he could push it a little bit harder. Now, you may be thinking, okay, our stage is only 3 or 4 minutes long. These events were not, okay? they were very much endurance events held on public roads. So this was probably one of the most famous. They had over 500 vehicles that used to enter these events, and very more often than not, less than 100 finished. So it was a very grueling endurance event. His time on this event that he won was 10 hours, 7 minutes and 48 seconds. You must bear in mind that these vehicles had no electronic aids as we know today. They didn't have power steering. They didn't have traction control. They didn't have ABS. There were no roll cages. There wasn't even a roof. Okay. When they say shoulders and heads above the rest, the way I see it is that they sat in vehicles that their shoulders and heads were above the vehicle. There was no roll over bar to protect the driver. The driver was very much the last thought when producing a vehicle like this. It was basically a steel frame with an aluminium body and an engine strapped to you. These cars could do over 200 miles an hour, and his average speed was 157.65 k's an hour average on public roads. Okay, not public roads as we know them as an N1 and N2. Public road, country roads in Italy. If you've ever been to Italy, you know how wide those roads are. They are narrow. They are super narrow. You can barely fit two modern cars next to each other on these roads. So this is what he had to endure to win this event, and he did so in his 300 SLR in 1955. Over and above that, he won the 1000k Nürburgring. If you know of the Nordschleife, that's what the only Nürburgring they had in those days. They did 1000k's on that circuit, in these sorts of vehicles, through the trees, through the forest, with no safety barriers. He won that 3 times in concession, and as well as that, he also won the 12 hour of Sebring with an American co-pilot. So an illustrious career in sports cars. Over and above that, unfortunately, he never won a Formula 1 World Championship. He's probably the most successful driver to never win a World Championship in Formula 1. Racing against Fangio and drivers of that era, and winning races against drivers of that era, is phenomenal. But to unfortunately never win a title, I think that boils down a lot to luck and unfortunately, mechanical failures. But he was very successful, 16 wins overall. What I find amazing is in 1958 against Mike Hawthorne, who have actually eventually won the championship. They raced very closely together. I think at one stage, Mike Hawthorne had a 6-point lead over Sir Stirling Moss going into one of the rounds. Mike Hawthorne spun it while leading, and was facing the wrong direction on the circuit. Now, the story goes that Moss, while driving past him or while driving next to him, recommended that Hawthorne roll his car down the hill, or shouted to him, roll down the hill and bump start. So now rolling down the hill meant that he was facing oncoming traffic, which, as we know in racing, is illegal now. In those years, it was illegal to reverse on the circuit. So he was facing oncoming traffic. He rolled down the hill, bump started his car, turned around and carried on racing, and was able to finish second behind Moss and maintained his 6-point lead over Moss in the championship. The stewards, after hearing what happened, heard that he reversed his vehicle, which was illegal, and then penalised Mike Hawthorne, losing him that 6-point lead and handing the lead of the championship to Sir Stirling Moss. Sir Stirling Moss found out about this and went to the stewards and pleaded Mike Hawthorne's case and got the ruling overturned and got Mike Hawthorne his second place back. Now that effectively lost Sir Stirling Moss the championship. At the end of the year, there was only 1 point separating Mike Hawthorne and Sir Stirling Moss. So had that penalty stood, Sir Stirling Moss would be the Formula 1 World Champion in 1958. But, however, he pleaded Hawthorne's case and got it overturned. When asked, I think it was by Martin Brundle, why he didn't just keep quiet, nobody knew that Sir Stirling Moss knew what was going on, and nobody would have known that he could have affected the results. Sir Stirling Moss responded, yes, but I would have known. So, a great sportsman as well as a great driver, and effectively cost himself a world championship over his morals as opposed to his want to win. So, I think that shows great sportsmanship. You don't see a lot of it anymore in sporting. And again, this is coming in a time when there was no halos, there was no 6-point safety harness. In fact, there wasn't even a seatbelt. And there weren't even closed-face helmets. So he did a lot of this racing in very dangerous conditions and won a lot of events doing so. Unfortunately, in 1962, he had a massive crash at Goodwood. There's actually an image of the steering wheel that he crashed with in Goodwood. I'll put it up now, where his head actually bent the steering wheel after making impact with it, put himself in a coma for over a month, and left himself with his left side of his body partially paralyzed. He was able to make a full recovery, but retired from Formula One at that stage. He did make a couple of appearances in once-off events and once-off classic car events as well, but never really competed in a full season professionally up until 1980, where he made a comeback in what was called the British Sports Car Saloon, the British Sports Saloons Championship in 80 and 81. Now this became the British Touring Cars and the BTCC as we know it today. A very, very well supported championship. It was back then as well. He was a teammate to Brundle in 81. Never really got really good results, but he was competing quite a bit older than the rest of the field. I mean, this is 20 years after he officially retired. In 1972, he did compete in a few classic events and continued to compete in classic events throughout the late 60s, early 70s, up until actually 2011, where he did officially retire from motorsports and from racing in the 2011 Legends of Le Mans, after, in his own words, scaring himself in afternoon practice for the event. I wonder what sort of moments he had on circuit that could have scared the great Sir Stirling Moss, but he eventually retired in 2011. So that was a quick overview of Sir Stirling Moss's career in motorsports and Formula One. 16 wins in total in Formula One and 212 over his entire career. Wonderful driver. Unfortunately lost to us at the age of 90, but I think leaving us with a great legacy and something to look back on, especially in terms of how to behave as a sportsman. So that was Sir Stirling Moss, and that concludes our Talk Motoring Tuesday. Guys, please, we are looking for sponsors going forward and to create a more professional look of the show. I want to get more guests involved, I want to get more manufacturers involved, and I want to do more professional reviews of vehicles. So please, if you do want to get involved with Talk Motoring, my email is coming across the screen now. It's talktokyle@gmail.com. We can there are segments available that you can sponsor as well as complete episodes. So please get in touch with me and chat to me if it's something you'd like to do. Over and above that, if you want to comment on the show and tell me there's something more you want me to add, please put it in the comments below on Facebook or on YouTube. Alternatively, you can drop me an email directly. So that was Talk Motoring Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And going forward into next week, still this week, we'll be chatting to Grant Mason from the Lamborghini Sports Car Club, or the Lamborghini Club. The chairman of the Lamborghini Club is Grant Mason. He'll be telling us more about his car club and what they do for communities. They have wonderful programs for underprivileged communities and impoverished kids. So he'll be chatting to us about that and what they do as a car club as well. So that'll be on our Fan Day Friday. Also on our Fan Day Friday, we'll be making a massive announcement on how we're going to go forward as Talk Motoring. We have a new partner coming on board, so please guys stay tuned and listen to and have a view of our Friday show, our Fan Day Friday, where you'll hear more about that. So until Friday guys, I hope you have a great evening, and thank you again for watching our show.